Hello, everyone. We are live again
Oh,
with
oh,
the
oh.
D2 Holidaytime spectacular.
We're in the same room. Jason, high-five me.
Oh, shit. Yeah, okay.
That worked.
So we figured this year, this time around again, we're like, well, should we do the D2 Holiday Spectacular again? It's like, well, we got the sweaters. We have to.
Of course,
We have
man.
to do it.
This is the most beautiful, most wonderful time of the year, man. How are you, Jason?
I'm great. I'm great. I hope you're good.
Yeah, man. Are you ready to get the party started?
Yeah, very, very. I mean, I have to say it's a little weird that we're not sitting in the same room.
It's a different chemistry, right?
We do get to share this virtual room together, so at least,
Yeah.
and our sweaters. Sorry, let's show these babies off. So it even has D2 Holidaytime Spectacular.
These are made of original plastic. Walking at a normal man pace, you can produce, I think, around 400 kilowatt per hour. And I've already been electrocuted 6 times because it's like, I cannot touch metal stuff that it's like exploding. But anyway, I'm very happy to be here, Jason. Let's give a big shout out to our sponsors who make this possible for us. The guys at Autodesk, of course, they are the main partner for every activity that we do. This year, we're also happy to have Chaos Group on, and also Maxon, as well as CGarchitect. With Chaos Group, we're actually going to have a workshop tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Chaos is going to have a workshop, and it's actually going to have to do with using V-Ray in Cinema 4D, and that sounds pretty interesting. That'll be at 3 p.m. tomorrow, Central European time. So if you have time, please check that out.
We're going to share more information about this in our community page on Facebook and also on Instagram. So make sure that you bookmark those and that you follow so that you can be up to speed with everything. Jason, before we introduce the first speaker, which she's already waiting, and again, thanks for being patient and for waiting for us. We're always fashionably late, so to say. I would like to introduce a little bit of a news that we have basically been cooking up, us here at the D2, which has to do with NFTs. Maybe you want to pull up the screen and show
hold on. I'm going to
our
share that
friends
with you
what we have.
So that you can see it too. So.
All right. So basically, the first thing is that we have started a program of like giving away community tokens to the people that engage with our activities. Activities like watching videos like these ones or participating to our challenges. These tokens, they have perks. One of these perks is discounts when it comes to the tickets to the actual physical event of the D2, but there are more perks, and we're going to discuss these more later on in 2022. But we have also started our NFT tickets. Basically, these are tickets that can be purchased on the blockchain. We are on the Tezos blockchain, so this is separate from the Ethereum blockchain. The decision of doing that is mainly to be aware of the environmental impact that the high usage of electricity can have.
But let's also be honest about it, that it's also for us and for anyone who's doing trading or wants to sell something or buy something on Tezos, the gas fees are minuscule in comparison, and that's also a nice feature of the Tezos blockchain. But yeah, like Fabio said, our main concern there was to make sure that we you are conscious about what we're doing and our impact that we have when we do it. So therefore, we decided to use the Tezos blockchain. I've been doing a lot of trading and buying NFTs on the Tezos blockchain, and it's pretty amazing. So if you don't know about it, go read up on it a little bit, and we're going to show you. Maybe tomorrow we can show like what you need to do to get a Tezos wallet and how you can buy Tezos, because I think that's going to be important coming up in the near future.
Now, the important thing to know about the NFT tickets that we have created is that these will be the cheapest tickets that you'll ever find. in relationship to the actual physical event. These are tickets that do not carry any loyalties. That means that if you buy them and you decide to resell them or to give them away, you are free to do that. This is the whole idea of us putting these tickets out, is for you to get used to trading and using this NFT technology. Also because in the future, well, actually, it's already happening now, we are creating a marketplace for artists. And it's going to be a highly curated marketplace where those who want to display their work, well, actually, I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, let's not say too much about it yet, because we have a lot of plans there, and we would like to
involve the community.
Yeah, and involve the community and some artists, and but we have a lot of plans brewing there and a lot of great ideas. And we, of course, that's the beauty of it, is that we want the community to be involved, also about like how we go about it and how we do it, because we want to do this for everyone, and this is not just for us. We want to help support artists and bring more people into the ecosystem, because we feel like it's going to be such a big and important part of things moving forward, not just in the creative world, but throughout. I just want to make a couple comments about the D2 NFT ticket. Basically, what you will do if you have this, if you buy one or if you win one, this will also be given away to the first place winner of our challenges. So that'll be a free ticket. We're going to send it to you. What do we say, Fabio, for this challenge?
For this challenge, because it's Christmas, we're going to give 3 away to the
top 3. Yeah.
To the top 3.
Okay.
But then moving on, it will be a free ticket for every person. Now, for the
first
winner.
Place. Yeah.
For the first place.
I just wanted to add, though, that the idea of this is that you will redeem this for the registration to the D2. So there will be a deadline for redeeming that. If you do not redeem it, then after that deadline's passed, you cannot redeem it anymore. However, it still exists as an NFT that you own. You can to do with what you want. Before the deadline, though, of course, you can sell it, you can transfer it to people, whatever you want. So,
Jason, can people simply right-click and download the ticket?
Yes, people can right-click and download the ticket, and feel free to do so if you just want to look at it.
All right.
But Jason, if you want to come to the D2, you can't send me an image of you can't send me the video and say, I'm burning this now. Because guess what? Blockchain, sorry, you're blocked.
Anyway, the price at the moment is around 25 pesos, which I think it's around 120, 130 euros currently.
Which is quite cheap for a D2 ticket.
This will be the cheapest D2 ticket that you're going to find. And this ticket is only going to be available during these 3 days of the show. Then afterwards, the price will go up until we release the early bird tickets, which will be significantly more expensive than these ones. With that said, don't worry if something is not clear. We plan in 2022 to have a community meetup where we're going to jump on a call with all the artists that usually get involved in our activities. And we're going to stream this live so that everybody sees in full transparency what we are trying to do, because this is a new world. It's something that we have seen a lot of people misunderstand and have completely a wrong idea about. But Jason and I have been, I want to say, relatively successful at working within this world. Myself as an artist, Jason as a collector. So we want to bring this knowledge to the community so that artists that maybe are struggling or maybe don't understand it well, they can get our support and we can make this part of the activities of our community. With that said, Jason, why don't we introduce our first speaker for tonight? We've been going a little bit too long.
Yeah, no, we've been rambling on. We can actually do this for 5 hours if we wanted to, probably talk about NFTs.
Yeah, I know.
But I just want to mention one other thing. I dropped the link just now into the chat. We'll put this link also in the description of the video. But please, if you have any questions about Tezos, about how you get Tezos, the wallet you need to use, and so on, jump in the Discord. I'll drop a link in the description as well and in the chat as well. Jump in the Discord. We have an NFT thing on our, like a channel on the Discord server. Just ask us. We are here and we will help you. So, all right, Fabio, sorry.
We're ready to introduce Cristina Porta.
I think we are. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Cristina.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening, Cristina. How are you?
Hi. So good here. What about you guys?
Yeah, good.
Very happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
I am sure that Juicy and Lilo from home are looking forward to hearing you speaking.
Say hi.
Cristina, we're not going to take any more time from you. We're just going to mute ourselves and the stage is yours, okay?
Okay, thank you. So,
of course, Cristina, if you need anything, we're going to be here listening. So just, you know, give us a shout.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for being here today with me. Let me introduce myself. I am Cristina. I am a multidisciplinary Italian designer. And I was born and raised in Sicily, but I am based in Milan since 2014. My work is focused more on interior design, art direction, and set design. I love to work with imagination and idyllic/surreal places. Each project is different, so I like so much working with different shapes and materials and colors. I'm always looking for new ideas. I'm also the founder of Cristina Porta Studio, a studio where we work with the clients and companies and agencies from all over the world, and a studio where our ideas are born and created. When it all began, I just finished my master's degree in interior design at Milan Polytechnic, and I was just starting my freelancer career. One day, a few weeks after I start, I received an email from a Spanish magazine. They wanted to collaborate with me for the Valencia Design Week. It was summer 2019, and it was very exciting for me because it was my very first commission ever. So for this reason, I want to show you more about it. We call it House on the Moon, and I was contacted by this Spanish furniture brand called Teulat. The brief consisted in placing some of their products, such as cabinets, tables, and armchair, in a surreal place on a moon. So I designed this house in the shades of the pink. We can see that I used the same elements in all the house. We can see the pink floor, the pink ceiling, the columns, the curtains, the stairs, and also the openings in the wall with the arch. It was also the first time I was on a printed magazine. The project was in collaboration both with Valencia Design Week and the Mag. So beside the project, I had to, in addition, I had 8 pages on their magazine with my project, my interview, and my photo. The only thing I can say to describe the moment I saw for the first time my work printed on the magazine and my words and my photo, it's that I was speechless. Trust me, it was amazing. Now let's go back to the studio. What we do? We are a multidisciplinary design studio, so we have multiple services. We deal with interior design, art direction, set design, 3D visualization, which is the main part of my daily job, animation, also 3D, visual, illustration, design consultancy, and graphic design. We are always open to new ideas, so clients are free to share the vision with us, and we'll do our best to develop it. I love to work with this surreal and idyllic space, and where imagination is never too much, using different materials and different landscape to create always new 3D renderings. 3D allows us to give life to new projects, especially related with interior design and product design. With 3D, we can do things which in reality we can't really do, such as, I don't know, playing a bed in the middle of a pink field or let an armchair floating in the air. Now, I want to show you some of my favorite interior design projects we did last year. We'll start with the Faradays. The concept for this project was to design a house in the middle of a far, far away planet. In all my interior projects, it must be, especially in the surreal and 3D ones, I always have the same concept. The house must be isolated and it must be your safe and silent nest, where you can relax away from the chaos of the everyday life. The color palette we used in this project is very cold, as you can see. We used for the floor, the walls and ceiling this gray lilac resin, and in combination with this orange. For the materials, we used instead the rose gold, the light wood, and the white marble. We created in this project only the living area. We have the kitchen, which is connected to the living room and the dining room through this arched opening in the wall. Next one is Villa Rivera. Villa Rivera is my favorite one and was born during the first lockdown for the COVID-19 pandemic in April 2020. Since we were close at home, we wanted a way to escape, but not only outside the house, but also in another decade. So we choose the 80s because we love the 80s. And so Villa Rivera is set in 1985 Miami. The villa has this pastel color palette. We use this mint green in combination with this peachy orange. And also we have more darker details with the red. We also use the tiles, black and white, both outside for the patio, for the swimming pool, and inside. We can find it on the bathroom or the living room door and walls, and also some columns. The house follows organic and inorganic shapes at the same time. You can see straight lines for the architecture and both curved lines. The pool is curved. Inside we have windows, circular, and circular doors. Everything is mixed. This combination of lines and curved simulates the combination of the vintage and retro style we wanted to give to the house. Next one is Dome Residence. Dome Residence is also a villa, and we designed it in 2020, October 2020. It's at near the Argentina's desert, as you can see from the environment. We have the ground, we have the sand, and also the rocks, the mountains, and these beautiful cacti. The villa is divided in two main blocks, connected to each other by a panoramic corridor with large windows. In the first block, we have the living area, and we have space like the kitchen, the dining room, the living room. And the second block, on the other hand, is for the sleeping relax area. It's built and designed on several levels, and you can go there and relax and have some silence and some time for yourself. The spaces are characterized by the presence of open spaces and the use of wood as the main material for both finishes and furnishing. Also, the color palette used has been studied in such a way as to integrate as much as possible within the environment and the surrounding flora. So it's not something out, but it can be incorporated in the environment. We also have here a swimming pool, and away from prying eyes, it can be considered a real oasis. Now, this year I had the pleasure to work and collaborate in the Angle V2, powered by Mrs. Sudoku. It was a pleasure to meet all these 3D talented artists and to meet them and to work with them. My artwork is still available and you can collect it as NFT on OpenSea platform, and you can collect only mine or all the 49. Now, when I start designing an artwork, for me are three the fundamental points of my creative process. We have the emotions, which are very important to me. To be able to convey emotion through my renderings, I always say that each of my projects has its own soul. So please be care about your emotion. Then the story. Recurring in my work are the series, because I like to be able to tell a story with more images, with more photos, and playing with more rendering. Last but not least, we have the feelings. Often my work reflects my state of mind, what I feel, what I'm experiencing, and I think it's essential to use your feelings within your creative process. Speaking of, I could give you the example of introspection. This project was born from a precise reflection, the desire to recreate a perfect place for the search for ourselves, which is why we gave this title to this artwork. As you can see, it's a series for a 3 image, and we use this calm pink color palette, and for the lighting we use a pink sunrise HDRI. Of course, we mustn't forget about the fun part, and playing with shapes, with materials, with the 3D models. In this case, you will find pool party series, where objects of all kinds can be found around the pool doing party. This is the first project I've done in collaboration with another 3D artist, and it was very interesting to mix up our styles together to create a series. It was, I think, summer 2019. Now, some weeks ago, I had the pleasure to participate to the Archiproducts Design Awards 2021, edition number 67 in Milan. It was a pleasure for me participating to an Archiproducts Award, and we collaborated with MDF Italia to recreate a 10 seconds animation. In this animation, we had the NDL Table designed by Jean-Noel floating in this amazing surreal landscape. We have the stairs, the sand, the dunes, and everything we wanted to be surreal. We used only one scene and 4 cameras, so we placed the cameras all around the scene. In more detail, we had 3 close-up and 1 full camera on the scene. Now, you may ask, how you create these surreal renderings? So again, you need, first of all, inspiration. let yourself be inspired. Without inspiration, nothing can be created, and it can be innate, or you can find it from people and experiences and things that you have around you. Then the elements to bring your vision alive, you have to choose the best elements for your vision. And finally, the fun part, so the creative process. And the fun part is bringing your vision to life and have fun creating, modifying, rotate, playing with lights, shades, and colors and materials. Now you may ask, how can I find inspiration? And I will tell you how I usually find inspiration. I find inspiration in things I love. So poetry, poems, art with paintings, sculptures, body performances, music with my favorite playlist, memories, dreams, sometimes also nightmares, and movies. I love movies. I am a cinema lover, and I love so much the way the movies can transport you for a few hours in a parallel universe, making you see from the director's point of view. So as an example, I wanna show you what we did this year being inspired by the cinema. This is a series inspired by Wes Anderson's movie, and as you can see, we have three movies here. The first one is The Moonrise Kingdom. We have the same landscape from the movie. We have the grass, we have the dunes, the lighthouse, and also all the picnic and objects they use in the movie. In the middle one, we have Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is the one in stop motion. And we recreated the landscape from it, the house, which is one of the main objects used in the movie, and all the natural elements they had. Finally, the third one is the Grand Budapest Hotel, one of my favorite. And we, of course, have this beautiful pink palette. And we have the Mendel's boxes, the windows from the hotel, all the baking tools, and all the objects we have usually we see in the movie. Now let's go back to our creative process, the elements. Here we have a list of my 8 favorite elements to use in my surreal rendering. We have the rock. You can use as a single rock, as mountain, as rock wall. Of course, we have the arch. We have a natural element such as flower, bushes, grass. We have the palm tree. You can use every type of tree you like, or interior plants. Of course, the curtains, the spheres, my favorite. The water, the element of the water, you can use the river, the lake, the sea, the swimming pool, and finally, the last is the stairs. Now, how can you build your surreal rendering? I'm gonna use as example my very first surreal rendering created in 2019. It's called Chill and Solarium. So first of all, you have to start modeling your scene. You can do that by Scratch, or you can download some asset, or you can mix. You can do everything you want. Remember, have fun. After that, you set up your scene. You have to place the camera and find your best composition for your image. When you have done that, now you choose the light. Lighting is a very important phase of the creative process. You can use sunlight, natural lights, artificial lights, sphere lights, mesh lights. Personally, I love to use HDR. Now, after playing with materials, shades, colors, and when you have all set up, you can start rendering your image. Last, you adjust in post-production your curves, brightness, saturation, contrast, everything you want. And here you go. Your surreal rendering is ready. Now, if you like my work, you can follow me on Instagram, Behance, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest. You can also find me on Foundation platform, where you can collect my NFT edition 1 of 1. For any more information, you can visit my website, cristinalaporta.com, or you can send me an email. Thank you.
Cristina.
Hey.
So you were not lying. You were going to go fast. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've
cool.
already written in the comments to see if anybody has a question. I do have a question because I saw a... Yes.
Okay, sorry, I have my audio off. Go ahead.
Okay. I do have a question myself because I saw on the some of the screenshots that you took. Did I notice you using Rhino also?
Yes, because yes.
Would you mind telling us a little bit more about the software, what it is that you use? And you can be specific, you know, you can tell me the render engine, the
yes,
everything.
So everything started with Rhino plus V-Ray because when I were studying for my bachelor degree, we started using the Rhino software. So it was my first software I used. So it's also the best software I know how to use because it's almost 10 years for using it. But for now, I also use Cinema 4D with Redshift and also sometimes Blender. So yeah, it depends mostly on the type of the commission we get. So maybe it's an animation, so it's better Cinema 4D or Blender. Sometimes it's more architecture and more specific. So we need the Rhino, which is more technical. It also depends, on the commission we get.
How do most of your clients come to you?
So this is a good question because sometimes I also ask myself how people find me. Surprisingly, I think the answer is the simple one, the internet, because we use social media for sharing our cats and dogs picture, but beside that, it's a very good window for us artists and designer to find new clients. So maybe people are just staring to their phone, I don't know, and searching for news, any new videos, reels. They find you and they say, let's see what she got. So I think that's the most common way, or the website. Yeah.
This is fascinating for me because this is one of those realities that are slowly changing, you know? Like a few years back, conversations that I've had with people and owners of businesses, but also in our own personal experience, social media was really, it wasn't really that good. And the only job propositions that would come through social media, they were usually the really bad ones. But I guess that those who are now in charge are also social media users, you know, like people have growing up with social media now, they're in charge,
that's different.
They're making decisions, and so they're, so this is very interesting for me that this is happening, because it means, okay, now designers do not only, you know, they do not only have to use social media just to put their work out there, they can do it to leverage that and get the sympathy of their clients. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you share some tips of how you manage your social media accounts so that people can use them?
Well, I have an advice for everyone is listening. always update your social media accounts. Don't let your last Twitter post 2 years ago keep sharing. Yeah, keep sharing your photos and your news on stories. Share. Your keyword is share. Yeah.
So being active, it's better than not being active.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
And so let's get to the meat and potato of how you do social media, because I think it's very interesting. As a matter of fact, you and I got connected because of social media.
Yes.
And I found, it's easy to say do social media, but the reality is that when I open your Instagram page, I find a place that it's extremely well curated.
Thank you.
Feels like it's not done. Okay, I made an image and I share it. There is a method to it, right?
Yeah. Of course, you have to have some content, and it's better, have good content. But it's always, I don't know, you can always going better. So you start doing your best, sharing your best, and with time, of course, with practicing and everything, always will be, welcoming, as you say.
Okay, good. Yes, Jason, sorry.
I have something, yeah.
Yes.
I noticed that in your presentation, you had these images that I have seen before in the DT challenge, right?
Yes, the Wes Anderson, yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering, did you do those images just for the challenge?
No, we surprisingly,
okay.
yeah, we shared our series like 2 weeks before the challenge.
That's funny.
So
okay.
yeah, so Fabio wrote me, oh, you have these amazing images, so you have to participate. Yeah, so we did it. Yeah.
Now that's really cool. Okay, because I didn't.
It was a coincidence,
realize,
yeah.
And the crazy
really
thing
nice.
is that none of our images got picked.
Next time, guys.
I know we talked about them. I remember talking about them.
Yes.
For
beautiful
sure.
work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I see no questions coming from home, but
Okay,
it's beautiful
too
because
bad.
it's more than 50 people watching, which is, people are getting entertained, which is ultimately our goal.
Yeah.
I would say great job with this presentation. I really enjoyed it myself.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cristina, for taking the time for doing this. We're going to launch a little break, and then we're going to come back with Revilo, our next speaker. We're going to be maybe 10 minutes, Jason?
I would say maximum 10 minutes. So
maximum 10
grab
minutes.
A drink, go to the bathroom.
Grab a drink, go to the bathroom, yeah. Have a sandwich, have ice cream. And
yeah, thank you, Cristina. I wanted to also say
thank you again for having me, guys.
Sorry.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We will see each other in a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay,
bye,
we'll be back soon.
Bye-bye.
Back. Thanks to everyone for waiting, for sticking around. We're pretty excited about our next speaker, Fabio.
So Charleston, right? Well, what about
Charleston? Yeah, we had a nice conversation there.
No, it's just that I wanted the conversation to continue. Like,
yeah. So we're hanging out there in the break. And I've actually never met you before, and come to find out that I could hear it in your voice, the Southern accent.
Just a little bit. Did it come out a little bit?
And I thought, man, where are you from? And so we were catching up there, a couple of Southern boys.
Yeehaw, yeehaw.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's nice, but it's nice to hear because I don't hear it that often, like the accent.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like when you go to these big cities, I was just in LA and they were like, oh, you're definitely not from around here. Like we can definitely hear. I was like, oh, well, I know you're from here. So you just hear it in the voice.
That's it. Yeah. Well, welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got Revilo with us. So excited to have you here, man.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you both for inviting me. It's awesome to be here.
Dude, I'm a big fan of your work. I've seen you since, I've been following you since you had like, I don't know, maybe 1,000 subscribers to your Instagram. And I saw you growing and I saw the daily work every day. And I was like, this guy, it takes determination, right? To do that. I mean, I've been doing it for a year and I'm like, I want to kill myself.
I don't know if it, I don't think it goes that far, but I hope not, you know, but yeah, it's something to, you know, you just got to get into it and just keep going. And it's just a drive. You just have to keep pushing yourself to get to.
For instance, myself, I learned to hate myself a little bit more every single day that I was making something because I did not like it or because I thought that it did not deserve it. But anyway, listen, man, we're going to leave you the stage. Do your thing. I'm very excited for people to see what you have. And yeah, we're going to catch up in a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Good luck.
We'll see you in a bit. Just let us know if you need something. We're here.
We're here listening.
Gotcha. Thank you. Sweet. Okay. Thank you again, Fabio and Jason, for inviting me to do this. It's awesome. It's great to be here. Thank you everyone for watching. Everybody that's here. My name is Will Harvey, also known as Revilo. That's my artist name. I do a lot of 3D art and motion graphics and things like that. Let me open up the presentation. Here we go. So like I said, my name's Revilo. I'm a 3D artist and motion designer and animator and a lot of other things, but I do a lot of digital art pieces and things of that nature. So a little bit about me. I am a motion designer, 3D artist. I'm also an NFT artist. I do a lot of NFTs. I don't have a lot out, but I'm very active in the NFT realm. I do a lot of, I go around and talk to people about NFTs and try to get people into it more. There's not really, especially from where I'm from, not a lot of people know what NFTs are. So I like to be able to try to teach people what is going on before this thing really skyrockets. It's not, I don't think it's in the height of its popularity, but I think it's pretty big right now. I mean, you have a lot of people talking about it. So it's, you know, it's there. And I want other people that aren't really in this realm or aren't in the tech side of things to be able to understand what NFTs are. So I go and talk to people about that as well. I do create Creative Commons visuals for DJs, musicians, artists, pretty much anything. If you have or you need a graphic for a background like Zoom calls, I have VJ loops on standby for free for anybody to use. So I create that as well. That has led to doing like concert visuals and graphics content for many different artists. My credits include like Lil Nas X, G-Eazy, City Girls, Shaquille O'Neal, Migos, Meg Thee Stallion, and a few more in the hip hop genre and R&B. I've done a few EDM artists as well, a few smaller EDM artists in the dubstep realm and stuff like that. And it's a really fun thing to do, to be able to go out there and create stuff for artists, other musicians as well. I mean, it's in the background where people can't see, you know, I mean, usually they're looking at the artist and not what's in the background, but it's cool to be able to add something to a performance and, you know, make it more visually interesting than just someone on stage. So it's very, very cool to be able to do stuff like that. And yes, I have a demo reel I was going to show and then talk about. Pull it up. So like I said, I do create visual content for free for anybody to download. This is some of it that I have. And usually I'll be creating an everyday, or I'll be creating like just something and I'll be like, oh, this would be cool to have as a visual or something to be on the background of something. And so I will create like a lot of these different environments, different things to be able to add to people's shows, or just, if you want it in the background of a Zoom call, you can have that as well. But people are able to download that, add it to their performance, and make something a lot more visually interesting and all. I did that for two reasons, really. One, so that people can, get to know me and get to understand what my vibe is like and what kind of art I create, but also to promote myself. I don't think people seem to understand, like, when you promote free work and you get your free work out there, you're basically just promoting yourself. I mean, a lot more people are going to want to download free stuff and not have to pay for things. So when you make it free, you're easily making it accessible for them to remember who you are, because they're going to come back to your stuff more often, especially if it's free. So it's a best way to, promote yourself. I started doing this a while back. It was around 2016. I decided to do this. And I was just like, I thought it was really cool and really interesting and something I wanted to get into. And luckily there was a place for me in that community to be able to do stuff like this. So yeah, you don't usually, especially from where I'm from, you don't hear people doing anything like this. So it was kind of odd when people heard like I was doing this for a living or doing this for other people. So I'll show some, I'll do that a little bit. So a little bit more to know about me. Like I grew up wanting to do like, I wanted to be a director. I wanted to direct movies or be a producer or be a writer. And I thought that was really cool, something I really wanted to do. One of my favorite films was Tron Legacy, not the original Tron, but the new one, the more updated one. It was, I remember when I watched it, I was in a theater at an IMAX theater with my dad, and he was just like, hey, let's go watch this movie, because I remember this being made when I was a kid. Now let's go take you to watch the new one. And so I went, and I was just blown away by the visual effects, the style, the look, the feel of everything, even the sound design by Daft Punk. Or the music by Daft Punk, like amazing. And so that led me to want to do more movies, create movies and create like content. And so I just wanted to keep going and basically just make my own stuff and just have fun with it. And so that led me to picking up a camera and going around and filming people and all this other stuff. And so I'd create like sports highlights for people. Nothing crazy or anything super creative, but I would try to do something creative within it to make it my own. So I would do that. And then I started to learn from other people online and in the real world that directing and producing and all this, you wouldn't really be able to do it until you were like much older. You have to like earn your wings basically. And I was like, I don't think this is the right path. And then I decided I wanted to go into the VFX world. And I did a lot of VFX stuff. I did compositing for videos and things like that, just my own personal work. And then I started to learn that was not the best route as well. It wasn't the best route to take as well. So I was like, well, what's the closest thing I can do to this? Because I like doing the work. I just can't do the environment. And so I reached out to a few people, artists, one of them being Beeple, and was like, hey, what is this? What are you doing? I think it's pretty close to what I want to do. And he introduced me to the Everydays. So I decided to do the Everydays project. And well, now it's dubbed the Revrydays or whatever by some of the other artists that I know. And so I'm thinking about taking it, taking that name. But I decided to do that. And I've been doing that for, I think, now 4 years, maybe 3 or 4, somewhere around there. So I've collected a good bit of art over the years, just creating. So after doing that, I just went from there and I would upload anything to the internet, just whether it was bad or good, and you could see the progress over time and gauge where I was in the beginning to where I am now. And in doing that, it allowed other people to see my work. And so that's how I would get clients to come in and recommend me for other jobs or for their jobs as well. So that's how it came to be that I started to pick up clients like Lil Nas X, G-Eazy, Shaquille O'Neal, things like that, as well as keeping connections within the industry. So here are a few everydays. These are pretty old, but these were some stuff. This is something to gauge what the art is kind of like. So yeah, I've got stuff like this, and yeah, you can tell it just keeps going, you know. So, and then and this is what I tell people too, when I do the everydays, I don't miss a day. Like, I'm going to do it that day. And this is a good example of what I mean. I had to go into surgery for something, and I was there with my mom. And I was like, hey, when I come back, I want you to hand me, like, while I'm under anesthetics, hand me a pen and a piece of paper, and I don't care. That'll be my everything, because I know I can't be at the computer. So you're gonna have to do something, and you're gonna hand me that pen and that piece of paper. So this is just something that came out of that. I think I have that somewhere over there. I'll probably hang it up or something. But yeah, it was just a weird thing. And even when I'm sick, like, I can still get in front of the computer, but I'll just do, like, this is how I feel that day. Like, I feel like crap. So basically, I'm a true believer in, if you're going to do it to the fullest. Like, do it as best as you can, but also get that done that day. You don't want to miss out on that, because it still is a show of progress throughout the years of where you were and where you can be. So I got started in 3D in Blender. I was actually using Blender for a while, and it was just something that I thought was, cool, and I was just like messing around in it. And this was still around the time when I didn't know if I wanted to be a director, or if I wanted to go into VFX. I would just mess around with Blender, and but I thought it was a little too hard to get used to. And it's not of the fault of the people at Blender, other than maybe the UI. It's a really good program, and I recommend it. I actually recommend it to people that can't get Cinema 4D. I'll be like, hey, why don't you try Blender out? Give it a good while, just learn the basics, and then go from there to another program, or just stay in Blender. And I know a lot of people that I got into Blender are still in Blender, and that's great. And I think that's awesome for what it is. It's free, so anybody can do 3D. But at the time, it was just not user-friendly to me, and it wasn't the program for me. So I moved on to Cinema 4D, and that's when I started to meet a bunch of other artists, and they started to help me out and, just help me understand what Cinema 4D was like. And so I would just do anything and everything. 3D, I do illustrations for the everydays. If I have like a camera, I did photography because I wanted to learn how a camera works. I don't usually do photography like as a client thing or something I pick up as a job. It's more of like a hobby, but I still wanted to understand what a camera does, understand exposure, white balance, things like that, focal length, and all the other specs of a camera, because that can translate to 3D as well. A lot of people don't realize that. You can take a lot of real world inspiration and put it into 3D, and it translates really well. Like lighting, texturing, things like that, So, yeah. slow. So my main pipeline or my main workflow is Cinema 4D with Octane Renderer. And then I'll, depending whether it's a video or if it's a still, I will go from Cinema 4D straight to After Effects or Photoshop. I will then composite. I do have a lot of VFX stuff in my background, so I will composite a lot, and I will add like, you know, color correction and just any sort of assets, lens flares, smoke, anything like that within these programs. I feel like though I have a lot of fun doing things in Photoshop just because the versatility of it, being able to just do whatever you want in there. Like I can make something look like a painting within Photoshop, and it just looks cool to me, you know. So I'll go from there to, and that's my workflow, you know, and then I'll upload the image after the fact or the video, depending. Okay. So out of all this, I'm hoping people seem to understand like that there's like a, you know, something going on here. There's something that you can probably catch on, and it's the importance of being consistent. When you do so many everydays and you just do it consistently, you start to see something happen. Like, I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, so it's like you got to give yourself some time and you got to be patient. You got to be able to understand that like you're not going to get that amazing job the first day you start doing 3D. It's just not going to happen unless you're just wildly good somehow, some way, which if you are one in a million, and from what I can see, but you just got to be consistent. And I tell a lot of people when they ask me, like, what do I need to do? I'll be like, do you upload your stuff? Do you upload anything to Behance, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook? I mean, anywhere. And they'll usually be like, I mean, like a little, they'll say like, I'll put a little bit on whatever. And I'm like, no, you got to be able to post anything and everything, whether it be bad, whether it be good. I recommend you post everything. Start from what you think is like, and then keep going forward and post anything that's, you know, your strongest work, and just keep going from there. Because it not only, it shows growth, but it shows like where where you were to where you are now. It's growth, but you can learn from what you've already done to make yourself a lot better in the future. Because that one piece of work that you did back in 2016 could be like minuscule to what you're doing now. You could be creating something amazing now. So you need to just post whatever you can to the internet, or just, you know, to forums or whatever you want to post it to, just to show people, you know, what you have. And I can say too, like at first I was thinking, why am I not getting, you know, certain things? Why is this like harder? Why is this? And after a while, after being consistent with the everydays and with my own personal work, you start to pick up like a lot of things easier. It's not just a show of growth with your art style or what you're trying to get a hold of. It can be a growth in learning programs. So like my main thing with the everydays was I wanted to learn how to use Cinema 4D and just 3D in general. And over time, I would learn different things like, oh, texturing, like what's a normal map, what's displacement map, what's reflection, what's diffuse, what's a texture, what's an HDRI, what is this and that and that. And over time you start to pick it up and you start to understand it, and then you start to use that to your advantage and to create better work. So over time I started to notice that started to pick up things a lot easier, and it started to become easier to make the everydays. I got to be quicker at it, and it started to become a lot better in the long run. So if anything, if you want to get anything out of this, be consistent. Like just be consistent in your work. Upload everything. Like upload whatever you can. and keep creating. Like, just keep creating. I know a lot of people that will just go to work, do what they have to do, and then come back home and they don't want to create. It's like, and I completely understand for a lot of people. I mean, there's probably some people that do that creating at work all the time. But I do think if you just sit down for like 5-10 minutes, just do something, learn something new, or just create. Like, it doesn't even have to be anything crazy. It could be a bunch of cubes in a scene, but at least you did something for that day, so that it'll get you to do something the next day because you thought maybe that wasn't that good. I think I can make that a little bit better. So then you'll go the next day and do something a lot better. So yeah, there's that. And here's a few other everydays that I did. These are more recent. So yeah, you can kind of tell like a lot of this is like sci-fi, dystopian type of vibes. So I'm really into things like that when it comes to my own artwork. Tron really was a big influence in me. Like I said, Tron Legacy was a big one. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to do stuff like that. Like, that's something I really want to get into. So that was a big influence. And of course, a lot of other influences like Star Wars, Star Trek, a bunch of sci-fi films. That was a big impact on me as well. So NFTs. Okay, so I like to be able to talk about NFTs. I like to let people know what NFTs are. I'm not the NFT expert, but I like to be able to get people through that door of understanding what an NFT is and understanding like what that is. Not a lot of people know what it is, especially from where I'm from. Like, it's very hard for people to grasp what that is. So I really wanted to get into it head first and like figure that out. So I do have NFTs. They're up on a Foundation. If you want to go check it out, you can, and see what I have up there. I don't have a lot. I don't saturate it with too much of my art, but I do have some up on Foundation. But I do think it's a good thing for artists to be able to do. And I really encourage artists to at least check it out and understand it, and decide then and there what should happen. I know a lot of artists are not into it, and I completely understand, but I do try to encourage people to go and just read about it, go and understand it, go read up on forums, and don't just go for one side, go and check out other things as well. Ask other artists as well to get their opinion on things, when all things NFT. So yeah, so NFTs, they've changed the game a little bit when it comes to digital artists. Digital artists really, it has impacted a lot of digital artists when it comes to this. But it's changed a lot of how I think about artists and digital artists as well. I didn't think digital artists before NFTs would be able to do something like what is going on in the NFT world. I think it's a great thing though for many artists that use tech, and it has changed a lot of people's lives, and it's going to be changing a lot in the future too. I mean, it'll change for pretty much everything from music to movies to pretty much any art you can think of. So I think it's a great thing in terms of artists being able to get their work recognized. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else, but I do recommend if you want to go check out a lot of my work, go on Instagram, Twitter. I have work like that. All my work every day is up on Instagram. I upload every day. Twitter as well. I upload on Twitter as well. And a few other social media platforms too. If you want to go check me out, go on there at Revilo stuff _stuff. You'll see my little doodle pop up and you just click on that and go check it out. So yeah, that's it.
We're here. We didn't
right.
leave the station. I wanted to put it back on, but I took it off. It's like, I think it's made out of plastic, the sweater. I was sitting there starting to sweat.
It's
Fabio was saying-
recycled plastic.
Yes, of course. 100%
Double
recycled baby dolls or something. I don't know. Barbies. Recycled Barbies. Yeah, thanks so much for that. I found it interesting that you said that you like went directly to Mike Beeple, if for everyone out there, Mike Winkelman, who's Beeple, like when you were first getting into it. He's such a great guy. How was that conversation that you had with him?
Yeah, it was a while ago, so but it was great. It was weird because I didn't know fully who he was until like after the fact, and I was like, oh, that is like the 3D guy. Like that is the digital artist guy. I was like, oh, okay. Because I didn't even know what motion design was. I didn't even know what really 3D art was. I just was getting in it. And so I was like, let's just hit up as many people as I could. And I just emailed anybody and everybody. And he was awesome. He gave me so much information to get started. He was the guy that got me into Everydays. Like he said, hey, do it. Like you need to try and do it. It'll help you in the long run. So.
Yeah, he's always been a proponent of that ever since he started doing it himself. Yeah, he's a great guy, and I'll have to say, ever since he hit it big, I haven't really talked to him that much. But we used to chat. Yeah, we used to chat every now and then beforehand. But he's a busy guy now. I mean, geez.
Yeah, he's got a lot on his plate. So
yeah, definitely.
He's just all over the place.
To be fair, if I had that kind of fortune because of the stuff that he did, I would buy an island and disappear. It's like that would be the last that you hear of me,
Yeah. I mean, there's no criticism there at all. I understand.
No,
it's like
exactly.
a different. He's got a lot of things he has to deal with and to take care of, and. Yeah, I'm super happy for him, and I think it's great for digital artists everywhere that such a thing happened to someone and continues to happen to many, many people.
Can I just say something, because it feels like the pace that we started, that we are sort of like shifting towards NFT, and that's all that we care about. But
I started to notice that too, but it's like, it's so weird because like you can't not, well, for me, I guess, you can't not bring up digital art without the NFTs because that's such a hot topic at the moment. And it's so weird. And I knew at some point, usually when I talk to people, they're like, so what do you think about this? What is it called? NFTs? And it's like, yeah, it's something you just have to talk about now. It's just all over the place. So you just got to be able to bring it up and, go ahead and jump at it and let people know, what's going on. So
but that's exactly actually the point that I wanted to make. It's myself in 2017, I stopped working in production. We had other things going on, Jason and I, and so the company started to grow. I started to get a lot more into consulting. And so for a very long time, this was what kept me busy. But because of NFTs, I actually did the opposite. I went back to production because, now I'm playing so much with Blender and with other 3D things that, it brought back the pleasure of working on client projects. Also because a lot of like super talented designers, they do not work with clients anymore because they're doing NFTs. And so now all of the clients are like looking for people to do 3D. And so this is the beautiful thing, right? It's the democratization of talent that now there is, again, a lot of work out there and people are always looking. So, it's an interesting way to look at what is happening in the 3D digital design community.
Yeah, but it's true.
I wanted to make this interlude just because I don't want people to think, okay, these guys now are talking just about NFT. Yeah, but every good designer that I know is somehow involved in it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've joked about it before. Like every time that Fabio and I get on one of these streams, that if people knew how much we actually talked about NFTs in the background, they would be pretty surprised probably, because it seems like every time that Fabio and I talk to each other on a video call, we always end up talking about NFTs somehow. I don't know why, but it's on our minds all the time. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just important to understand it. I mean, you can decide whether you want to do it or not, whether you want to take part in it or not. But I think you definitely can't discount it, the value of it for 3D artists, even if you don't want to be a part of it. There's a value for someone in it. So I just think we also should, be mindful of that when we deal with other people, because some people really don't like it. They think it's a scam and so on. And I've seen enough stories of people making it with NFTs that I just can't believe that. And I just hope that we can all agree that it can be good for some people.
Yeah.
Will,
I mean,
I have a question for you. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, it changes lives. It just changes a lot of people's lives when it comes to stuff like that. And I think people should be open-minded about it and then make a decision on what they think about it. It's super, there's a lot that goes into it on the artist's end and on the whoever's running whatever, these platforms, Foundation, Super Rare, Nifty, any of that. So it's like, you just have to dig deep, research, do your thing, and then get into it, and or just don't, so it's, yeah.
Will, I have a question from somebody.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no question.
Okay.
How do you stay inspired to be able to come up with unique ideas to create daily?
It's just anything. I mean, we're all inspired by something. I mean, one person can be inspired by a brick wall. Like, it's just like, there's anything and everything out there in the world. You can find something and you could probably remix something. Like I was looking at some art the other day where a guy referenced like a bleach bottle, but he turned it into like, he made a drawing using that bleach bottle as reference as a spaceship. So like, it was just like a different, like he was inspired by that bleach bottle to make something completely different. And so like, to keep myself really interested in like 3D and art in general, is I'll go out there and find like inspiration to be able to, help me go through that. Not only, and it isn't just that as well, like learning new things also keeps me inspired. The knowing of not knowing everything keeps me inspired, which is kind of weird sounding, but like, that's the truth. Like right now, I really want to get into Houdini. Like, that's just my main thing, is I want to get into Houdini. I just need to be able to find the time to do it. I've been having to move and all this stuff, but that's my next thing. I just a while back learned Turbulence FD. I wanted to get into X particles, things like that. And it all started with Cinema 4D and Blender. I wanted to learn that. So, it just kept me motivated to want to like learn it even more. So I think if you find a motivation, whether it be drawing, painting, digital art, I mean, there are people that just do Photoshop. You'll find like inspiration out there to be able to keep creating and to keep making like cool and dope art.
Now, how long does it take you to create one of your everydays on average?
Yesterday, it took a little bit longer than expected just because I had a lot of phone calls I had to deal with. But usually it takes like maybe an hour to 2 hours. And then some days it takes like maybe 30 minutes to just get something done and go to the next thing.
And in the rest of the time, are you doing still a lot of client work?
Yeah, well, now I've been employed at a company, so I have not taken a lot of client work lately. But yeah, I'll like, funny enough, I'll know some of these people at these companies that I'm doing client work for, like freelance, and they'll be like, "Hey, have you done your everyday yet?" And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I could do it right now. And they're like, "Yeah, do it real quick so that we can get back." I'm like, okay. And so I'll just sit there for like 15, 30 minutes, get something done, and then move on. It's become like a thing where people are like, hey, you got to do your everyday, man. And it's at the client. It's like we're in a meeting, you know, it's like.
But that's great.
Funny. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of weird. I didn't think personal work and client work would collide like that. I thought it was just going to be like, I'm going to show you my portfolio, and that's the last you're going to hear from it.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it just keeps being brought up. I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, if you want to sit here and let me do my everyday, then I'll do it. But yeah.
Will, a question. How do you deal with that sentiment of negativity towards the work that you put out, but you don't really like, or that you put it out and then later you go back and you're like, this is really shit, but I had to put it out because it's an everyday. I mean, I'm projecting here, I'm, you know, taking a wild stab in the dark. Maybe you don't do that, but with me, it happens very often. How do you deal with that sort of like dynamic?
Like I know a lot of people that are like, oh man, I don't want to put up my stuff because it's not good. And I'm like, dude, it starts with that. You just got to throw it out there. If it, you know, sticks, then great, you know, like it's awesome. But if it doesn't, then you just keep moving forward. I mean, that's all life is just keep moving forward. And you've got to keep moving forward in your art, in your work, in your life. Like you just got to keep doing that. Anytime I ever create something that I just don't feel is like too par, I'm just like, well, got to get it done and then move on, you know? And what's great about that too, is if I did something in Cinema 4D where I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. It probably could have been better doing this. I can remember that for the next day. Don't do that. Like, that's not a good thing to do. Let's try to fix that, you know? Like if I had a texture problem or something, it's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done should have done a UV wrap on that. So next day I'll do that, you know? And if I just am not, you know, meshing with the style that I did that day or something I did that day, the next day I'll do something different. And I try to push myself to do something different every day to see what works and doesn't work, and, you know, figure out, you know, the landscape of things, and, you know, just keep moving forward. So.
That's great. Jason, people are saying that you're using a typewriter.
That's not possible that they can hear me though, because I turned my mic off. They probably could at the beginning, but then after they couldn't. You know, I gotta keep some chats going here and, like, you know, make sure everybody's happy. So let me type, people. I need to type. I must do it. Yeah, I mean, I am very impressed with your work whenever I've looked at it, and I appreciate that, you know, daily thing. I just can't. I've never done it, and I never want to. Like, I just don't even want to try it. One time I remember when I first saw people, I was like, well, that would be a cool idea. And then I started really thinking about it, like what that meant. And I was like, nah, not going to do that.
Well, it's like, it's weird. I completely understand with some people. I've tried to get people on the everyday bandwagon only because, yeah, I mean, it's technically like a bandwagon. People hype it up and things like that. But there's some people that are just like, man, I was, you know, my art is like, you know, this and that. And I'm like, well, why don't you do everydays? Why don't you do everydays? And they're like, well, like, I'm like, well, you have enough time to, like, sit down and just, like, take a breather for a minute, or you have enough time to, like, watch that TV show that you've been trying to catch up on. Why don't you take, like, 15 minutes out of that TV show and just sit down and do something? Or, you know, this and that. But then as I started to say that a lot more to more people and understanding other people's lives, people were like, well, I have kids. I have, you know, a wife I have to go home to, or, you know, a husband to go home to. You know, it's like, I've got to be able to spend time with that. And then I was thinking, I would think to myself, but yeah, you still have time to do. But then I was like, you know, they need time for their family, or they need time for themselves, and they need this and that. And then it came to me that, like, every days are for certain people. So certain people probably don't want to, you know, do that and have to spend their time and their lives to be able to dedicate themselves to something like that. And I've, you know, learned that it's good for some, probably not good for others, but there is a place for everybody in doing everydays. So I recommend you give it a try at least once or twice, or I was just talking to, I don't know if you know, Ren from Corridor Digital. I was just talking to him, and they do videos like every week, or like 3 times a week, and he was talking about doing his own work and doing stuff like that. And I was like, why don't you try doing, every days for like a month, or do like a monthly thing? And even he was like, yeah, I thought about doing like a monthly or like a weekly every day, and then I was like, yeah, I mean, you could take 30 minutes out of your day each day dedicated to that artwork. And then at the end of the week, you show it. So it's, it's just, some people can do it, some people can't. And I completely understand both ways. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're not this and that. No, I completely understand. There's certain people get work done different, I just happen to I have to do it every day. Like, it's just part of my thing. I have to do something, every day. So.
Yeah. I mean, I can appreciate like all the different ways that people do things, because we also had, for instance, Cornelius Dimrich at the D2 in 2019. And he's the kind of guy who he'll do one project for 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
Before he's like showing it even. Like, so.
Yeah, that dude is insane. I can't.
But I think it's
can't even imagine.
It's like the opposite.
Yeah, I can't even imagine like sitting there. And there's, I mean, like I said, there's different ways of doing it. I just couldn't imagine sitting there for 6 to 12 months working on this amazing work and then finally releasing it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it shows that like some people want to take the time, to be able to put little things in their image that make it a lot better. And then there's some people that are like, I want to just create, I don't care how freaking good it is. I just want to create.
I want to do the next image.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's pretty much how it goes.
I can't wait till the next image starts.
That's actually me. But I'm also like understanding the limitations of doing everydays, because sometimes, as you said, you have half an hour and it's like your idea might need longer. And I have spent days where, I slept way too little because of that, because you have to put it on top of everything else. But I gave myself a deadline, which is 1 year, and I'm approaching it, which will be the 1st of January.
Congratulations, man! That's awesome, dude. Like, for
thank
real.
you. But then the question to you is: do you have a deadline? Do you have like a goal?
Like the ultimate one, or what you mean, Fabio? Like the ultimate.
Yeah, like when you're gonna stop?
When am I gonna stop? Probably never, man. Like I've started. It's gonna keep going. I think I told Fabian Oppenheimer, Dizzy Viper, for anybody that doesn't know. Like, we were just chatting, and he was like, "Yeah," and I don't even know if I'm gonna stop. And I was like, "Man, I've locked myself in. This is like a marriage. I'm going till death do us part." It's we're in it. It's just something that like I've now brought into my life, and it has done nothing but help me. So why would I want to get rid of it? Why would I want to throw it to the side and do something different? Now I don't make every day is like my life. Like, it's not just, I'm not like constantly at my desk, just getting something done like that. I do have other projects and other personal projects that I do. And I just learned to time my day correctly to be able to do both. So.
Dude, I love this conversation. You've been extremely generous with your time. I just want to thank you on behalf of the D2. Jason, do you have any more questions for him?
No, I don't. I just want to say also thank you for joining us and taking the time. I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, guys. It was awesome.
Everyone out there does too, that's watching.
I love this, I have to say. And I really hope that we can continue chatting and we can stay in touch, because you're a great guy, super talented. And, you know, I don't want to praise ourselves too much, but we sort of have an eye for future talents. A lot of them passed by the D2 before going on doing great things. And I do think that you have what it takes. And so, you know, I just want to wish you good luck and to the moon, man.
To the moon.
Yeah, don't forget us. Don't forget us when you make it to Christie's, okay?
Yeah, exactly. you know that Beeple in his 5,000s has one artwork called D2 because he did it in Vienna when he came to our conference.
Yeah, I think he told me about it. I was like, hey, Fabio mentioned that you were on D2. And he was like, yeah, it was a while ago, but yeah, I remember that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he made it for us.
He was
in a like the pre D2 party. He did it live. He made the everyday live for like a few people. I guess it was about
I think he told me about that.
That was awesome. It was really fun. But it was also funny because he made a few on that trip as well. So he had one called Vienna, I think, and like a couple more because he made one every day. And there's one where he was sitting in the beer garden, like using his computer, and like all these people started gathering around him, like watching him do it. And he basically made it and was asking them, you know, what do you think? And they're like, oh, well, maybe move this over a little bit. Like, so it was like a teamwork. And
that's how it was. That's how it was at camp. We had Camp we went to Camp Mograph, and he was there, and we were just doing our everydays, and just everybody would come in and would just like art direct all of, like I was sitting there doing mine. They were like, hey, yeah, move his arm like this, and they would go to Mike and be like, yo, hey, move the pole like up like the, you know, it was just all this stuff, and it's just funny to watch, you know.
Well,
that's a beautiful thing.
That was great because I loved how receptive he was as well. Like it didn't bother him at all that people would come by and watch over his shoulder. Like some people couldn't do that. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I would like that. But he was like, yeah, come on, have a look. Like you can, and like people would go while he was doing the everyday that day. In the theater, everybody would just like, he was like, just come up. I don't want to sit here by myself. He's like, just come up and talk to me. It's no problem.
Yeah. It's weird because like I think partly when a lot of people don't want to be bothered, I think I get it. Like you want to have your space or whatever, but like after doing so many of these, it's like, what's the worst that could happen? Come up here, give me an idea, and we can just roll with it, or just ask me to put a model in the scene, and I'll just figure out a way it can be, you know, interpreted into the scene. You know. It's something fun to be able to get everybody to like join in and be creative at something. You know?
So thanks so much for being here. We're going to have to cut it short because we need to move on to, we're going to do a segment now, which is with one of our long-time partners, CGarchitect and Jeff Model. We're going to play the nominees from the CGarchitect 3D Awards and the winners of those categories. Today, I think it's the image categories, so commissioned, non-commissioned, and student, and the interactive categories. This is something that we always hold at the D2 live versions, like the in-person ones, which we haven't been able to do. So we're like excited to do this again and to be able to show that. But thanks a lot for being here.
Will, you have an amazing day. Thanks a lot for talking to us. And yeah, I'm going to chat with you on Instagram. And I would recommend anyone who is curious to find out more about your work to come and see you on Instagram. You're very active there, posting every day. Yeah, thanks a lot for doing this, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on here. It's an honor.
All right,
you
so
have a great one.
We'll see you around.
Take care.
We'll be in touch. Yep.
Bye, Will.
See you.
All right. So now the moment we've all been waiting for. No, I mean, a lot of people have been waiting for it.
Do we know who the winner is?
So we are super honored again to be able to cooperate with Jeff and CGarchitect and hold this awards here as we do something with the D2. Usually it was during the main D2, but this year everything was a little off because of Corona and everything else that threw everything out of whack. But we're super excited to be able to show that here, to reveal the winner, basically, the winners of these categories. We're going to do a video today with the categories I mentioned a moment ago, and then tomorrow there will be the film, the film category. So there's 3 of those. And we'll do that tomorrow at around this same time. So Fabio, I don't know, should we jump in and do it?
Yes, let's just go.
I think it's about 30 minutes, so we'll see you when it's over to say goodnight. So enjoy.
Sit back and relax, eat some popcorn.
Welcome to the 2021 CGarchitect Visualization Industry Awards. The nominees for the Student Image category are Vincenzo Sardone, Isabella Scrima, Alessandro Colace, Kawan Gama, Alberto Navarro Sanchez. And the winner of the 3D Awards Student Image category is Vincenzo Sardone.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Congratulations, buddy.
Oh God. Oh, I don't have words. Thank you. Thanks to the jury, this amazing award. It's a dream. This is the dream. I just wanted to tell a dramatic and emotional story at the same time, and in which the protagonist of this image was not a common character. I made this image for the Raw Images competition, and the protagonist of this image is a homeless man. And my renders, the protagonists, are always alone because I try to tell their story in a specific place, in a specific moment of their life. It's really difficult for me to express my image because it's so emotional for me. I create this scene in this city. Is a moment after a storm, and everything is about to come back to life. I love to create atmospheric renders like this, for example, and I love worked with complementary color because I can create contrast and equilibrium at the same time.
I really love it. I love that tree right down the middle that kind of pins everything in place.
Well, it keeps you from dwelling there, which is, when I first looked at this image, I was like, I don't know if I like that tree in the center or not. But it does something quite nice, which is that you kind of look straight down to that tree towards the big glowing white building. And that tree kind of stops you and sends you off to both sides, which I think that if you were to sell this to a developer or to a client, they would probably ask for that tree to be removed or pruned so as to not interfere with the building. But I think as an image, it does a nice thing because you get this screen of silhouetted trees from the foreground through to the midground and then back coming towards you on the far left, that I think really sets a nice layer across this image in a very kind of atypical way.
It's wonderful, and I love the way in which the puddles are patterned, the way that they do pattern, that that some of the pavers are clearly are a little lower or not aligned with others, so that you're getting that patterning going on there. It's a really strong image for a lot of reasons. For student work, it's outstanding.
Oh,
well
God,
done.
it's mind-blowing, the student work. I mean,
yeah.
My student work looks nothing like this.
The nominees for the 3D Awards Interactive category are Andras Vida and Yulia Adami. Arcanine Visualization. Kinorama. Secondary Bounce. Build Media. And the winner of the 3D Awards Interactive category is Kinorama.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, no way. Really?
We were already so happy in between. Thank you so
We
much.
didn't expect it so really.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
We admire a lot all the job that all the guys have done. We've seen everything and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So
congratulations to all nominees. They have done great and amazing project. Yeah, really. So bad. We didn't expect it. So
yeah, this is a gift.
Yeah, thank you. The concept of the video was to communicate our envision of VR in the present and in the future through the hand tracking future, and also to communicate a story.
You have to have some moments of the story where you focus the attention of the user in some point, because in this moment you want to tell something and you want everything focusing here. But then interaction and immersive issues, when you let the user touch things, interact with things, the immersion is going to be much stronger. So we need both parts.
For me, it's a good point, because some years ago, I thought that hyperrealism was the very important thing to do in an image. But I realized that for me, in that moment, it was more important the storytelling and the message.
Yeah, I think the key also is the motion. To move people. So hyperrealism is nice because the immersion is stronger. When you put on the headset and if everything is very real, you really think you are there. And this is very powerful. And we have been working to make landscapes where you can feel it. You are really there. But at the end, what you need or what we want to achieve is to move the user. And you can also experience very, very, very realistic experiences, and then to say, okay, this is amazing, this is very good quality, but
it's empty.
They haven't told me anything. So
we show two kinds of architecture. They are opposite one to the other. So one is small and domestic architecture, and the other is the opposite. We put a headset on the bed, so inside the VR experience, you can travel, you can live to another VR experience. So
we imagine a person living in this apartment and being very enthusiastic about a landscape, an imagined landscape drawn in a picture. Everything starts with a painting. With VR, you can travel through the painting and you can travel to this imagined architecture. You discover a little text which says, push your fist and make your dream real. So when you push your fist, everything starts to make real and to make hyper-realistic. So it's like you are making your dream, making true. So it's like a metaphor of what is VR for us.
Yeah, you have the power to build your dreams.
It's interesting the kind of the idea that a kind of a new language would need to be created for, interactivity. I mean, one of the things that I guess we're all programmed, deeply programmed to use now as kind of total extension of our body is like our phone, and the way in which our thumbs travel across that thing at 1,000,000 miles per hour to accomplish all sorts of things, from writing a thesis to going through imagery to whatever it is. It seems that's kind of it would seem that would be maybe the place to start for navigating any space now, rather than even the kind of the controllers. But
this particular submission is very much a suggestion of not necessarily it needs to be this way, but there's an element of storytelling that we can start to use in the interactives that's not being used yet. And towards the end of this piece, where they do start using the clenching the fist gesture to transform this fantasy space into a real living space. The thing that I think I get excited about for this is that it's thinking, what can we do beyond just changing materials or changing furniture? Whether it's going from, this is that kind of flat red material to real world materials, I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. I think what it's really getting at is this idea that we can involve the viewer in a more meaningful way than just pick which chair you like, which I think is very exciting.
The nominees for the 3D Awards Commissioned Image category are
It's been a while since
Bucharest Studio,
we did back when we were dumb and younger.
Beauty and the Bit,
It's been a while since I looked into
RK9 Visualization,
saw starlight, bold bright colors. Yeah, when I'm
Laurier Vardage,
when I'm dry, no one else.
Aesthetica Studio.
I would choose
And the winner of the 3D Awards Commissioned Image category is
you over and over again.
Aesthetica Studio.
I was talking with Antonello, said probably they're gonna win.
The novel before the film.
That's great news. Okay, wow. Wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, now I think we can change job. We don't have anything to aim for next year. Damn it. Yes, we work a lot with them, and well, they were kind of among the first clients, and since then it was always a super nice relation. This is quite a weird image from like drone, but they were super happy about it. The project got a lot of resonance in media because it's a very weird project in the middle of a fjord in Norway. We had to develop 2 images for this round, and in the end we sent, I don't know, 40 drafts, and then they bought eventually others. Like this was not a competition, so it was like the second phase of, they won the competition a couple of years ago, and this was the presentation to the public, this phase. And they were super happy about it, so apparently they're going to build it. So, with Snøhetta is a bit, it's kind of free process. We enjoy a lot working with them because they respect a lot what we do. They know us, so they trust us in a way. While there are other architects like they just order what they need, like a pizza. And in this one with ham and cheese, and this one with Photoshop, it was just a matter of putting like a lot of details, a lot of pictures, looking for drone images in high resolution. In the end, it was not like a technically very difficult image. It was just the challenge was just to have like a nice composition, nice colors, nice effect, and many details on how the water interacts with the built architecture and how these activities could merge and show the small scale of the people, basically.
I mean, you know, it's I'm always excited by a kind of a planimetric view, something that shakes something up. You know, I mean, this, you know, once you get into this is a real opportunity for figure ground and composition. You know, Aesthetica, I'm a big fan of their work. I mean, I think their work is fantastic. This one reminds me of a purist painting, Aux Enfants or Corbusier, and that's kind of interesting. With something like this, one could spend an infinite amount of time trying to get the exact right composition. If anybody hasn't seen the other image of this project, go check it out because it's absolute beauty.
Yeah, I think this one, I'm not sure that I've seen the other image. I'll have to look at that one, Matthew. But this one, the thing that I really like, I think, about this one is that for an aerial image, which it's abstracted the project in a way that's also made it more clear. And so the composition actually explains Snoetta's design, I think, really, really well. It almost goes back towards a plan in virtue of looking straight down, but because of the shape and the figure ground between the concrete and the sea, you end up with, I think, a really interesting composition that you don't see very often, right? There's no perspective to speak of in this image, and yet the project still comes through in 3D thanks to the shadows. I quite like the composition of this one.
I mean, what I like about this is just the idea of a planimetric perspective to describe a project, and the idea that you can start to make a painting out of it. You can kind of look at this in lots of different ways.
Yeah, you could break this one down into basically just like two values, and you would still have a very similar composition, which I think is really interesting.
I mean, there's also, if you zoom in on this one, which I did, there's something interesting because the texture of the ground plane from a distance is very convincing, but actually when you get into that texture of the concrete, and I'm presuming it's concrete, it's one of these kind of impressionistic things where it's radically at the wrong scale, but yet when you're zoomed out, it reads correctly. So that was an interesting kind of discovery that I had when I kind of zoomed into this one. I mean, for me, always the hardest thing in what we do is color, and then the second hardest thing is scale. I mean, I think the color in this is beautiful. I mean, in the little kind of the thumbprint of red down at the bottom, I think does a hell of a lot for the image. And the red is talking to the yellow kayaks there. That's good. But the scale is something that's always very difficult to deal with.
The nominees for the 3D Awards non-commissioned image category are Virgin Lemon, Erica Ruiz, Kirill Cherny, Inster Studio, Vittorio Bonapace, Karina Camargo Jimenez. And the winner of the 3D Awards non-commissioned image category is Vittorio Bonapace.
Oh my god. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, buddy. Congrats.
Give me a sec, guys. Oh, fucking happy. It's so happy, guys. No, really, this to me this is probably the best reward for the CGI. So it's kind of yeah. Thank you. Weird, yeah. So fucking happy. But so sorry for the I'm damn happy. Yeah.
You substituted one expletive for another one. I love it.
Just want to, I'm not good actually when I get emotional, but yeah, I like to thank who believed in me, and I just want to. I mean, I'm crazy happy about getting this reward, because to me this really means it's a great. It's something you really frame your career and your rewards and the hard work we put into the work. So I'm damn happy about it, guys. Yeah. Yeah, it was the first colony on Mars, the architecture concept. And I had this idea to not represent the first colony, but when not the epic moment when people is landing on Mars, but when people is confident. I wanted to not represent glass. It was like a modern plastic and something sci-fi
but the message did not come true. That's cool to hear, because I try to create a non-obvious image of Mars, just avoiding the normal and obvious red one. Yes, I came quite quick with the idea. I just write down a lot of tasks to do each day between production and other stuff. So it was like a mission to complete, but I was like, I need to do that because it's kind of a cool to bring all together. I kind of envision this robotic, which is not so sci-fi, the robot I added, but I try to blend with a sort of retro sci-fi thing in terms of design. So I think I've seen a robot from the 60s, and they had this kind of glass stuff on top. So it was like, I thought to incorporate in the visual and give some sort of coexistence between tech and sci-fi and human. From the beginning, I remember I said I want to show a human enjoying the life on Mars with a sort of robot. So immediately I started this idea of sci-fi elements blended with the man. Then I explored different concepts. So I remember I started to use a sort of more like an AI machine. Then I went for a more robot, and then I ended with this kind of retro futuristic design.
Yeah, it's a very, very exciting image. When I opened this up, I actually was I was immediately drawn to make a crop of this image without the green thing in the right. And I think what it does is it suggests a story somehow that you can't quite get to. Something's out of frame that's kind of illuminating that person sitting with their back to us. But hats off, it's a very exciting image, especially for a quick composition that's sort of very concept driven.
And it drives home, I think, my favorite part about this image, which is, we're so used to seeing images of Mars that look like, the space station basically crashed on a dusty surface and everything's red and potentially gorgeous, but we have a very kind of specific cultural view of what Mars looks like, both in science fiction and in reality. And I think that this image does a really good job of still portraying that heavy, dusty atmosphere, but looking at it in a way that the emphasis goes back to the humanity that's on it, right? We're seeing it at a dust time, things are cool. It's still a heavy atmosphere. It almost feels underwater, but we're seeing someone he's waiting for something. Like it's such a mundane pedestrian thing to be doing in this absolutely serene but foreign alien environment, which I think really comes across in this image, both in its initial form and in Matthew's crop. If anything, Matthew's crop, I think, really drives that idea.
CGarchitect would like to thank our major sponsors for their support of this year's awards. AMD, Twinmotion, Fiverr, Brick Academy, Adobe, iCAD VR, Chaos, Moses, and Fox Render Farm.
And we are back again.
So congratulations to all the winners.
Congrats to everybody. That was amazing. But I'll tell you what, I absolutely love watching these last year's and this year's 3D Awards videos, because I see many images that were done for the D2 challenges, which just blows me away. And I'm super happy to see that, that we've been able to give people the chance to do that, like to think about something different and to make something on their own, like their own creation. And I'm super happy and proud to see that happening, and congrats to everyone, regardless of whether you're in the D2 challenge or not. But I can't say, it looks like if you go in the D2 challenge, you have a good bet to go far in the 3D Awards.
It means that our judging is not far off from the truth.
That's right. It's another important point. Yeah, we seem to be doing not such a bad job getting the right winners, right?
Jason, I would say let's wrap it up. We have tomorrow. It's another big day that we have to get ready for. We're gonna have Evoke Lab and Silverwing as speakers, and then there's going to be, before the show starts, a workshop with the guys at Chaos Group. We're very much looking forward to that. And then on Friday, the live judging for the bridge competition that we have organized together with Brick.
Yeah, and everyone, don't forget that the workshop tomorrow is going to begin at 3 p.m. Central European time. So that will be happening before the D2 main event in the evening. So if you want to catch that, it's earlier in the day. You can check it out on our website and see the times and everything. But yeah, so just wanted to throw that in there. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Everybody who's watching, please leave a like. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. It will help the channel grow. And I guess it's a good night. Ho, ho, ho. And I will see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you then. All right.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.